Hello and welcome to the demo for the client sales database. This was one of the first spreadsheets I made, and this is a remake of it. I've added a bit of functionality and some changes to the reports that you can adapt and change the report yourself. So let me go through. I'm going to go through from scratch as if you've never seen this product, because I'm assuming you've seen this for the first time. So I don't want to assume that there's anything from the first spreadsheet that you would have seen. So let's start from scratch. What this does is, I wanted to build a spreadsheet for a sales rep, for example, to monitor sales that they've done, but also the leads that they've got and the follow-ups for the leads, and even potentially follow-ups for sales. Sometimes you do a sale and you need to follow up with a client a month later or a year later or whatever the case might be. So this will help with following up with clients based on leads or sales, and also tracking what leads and sales are coming in or potentially coming in, and also to then categorize them. So that's what the spreadsheet does. Obviously, I've made a standard version. If you need something that's slightly different to this, we can talk about a custom version, but this is the standard one that I've got. So first of all, your business name will be locked in. You can put the salesperson's name. So if you are a company and you've got, say, 3 salespeople, and you can buy one of these spreadsheets and you can just rename them for each salesperson and distribute them throughout your team. Days for follow-up from sale and days for follow-up from last contact. So this days for follow-up from last contact, this is based on leads, and these are based on sales. So if you make the sale today, how many days from now do you want to follow up after the sale? You can put that number of days in there. It's not working days, it's just flat out days. It doesn't take bank holidays or weekends into consideration. And then here we've got the how many days after for a lead. So if you chase up a client today and they say, or a potential client, put it that way, and they say they're not quite ready, when do you then want to follow up with them again? You can put the number of days in here. These are for your products or services. Now I've left 10 spaces. So if you've got 5 products or 6 products or 8 products, you can just list the products in here. If you've got, or services in fact, if you've got a whole bunch of products, then what I suggest you categorize them and put them into categories. At least you can monitor categories. So you can monitor up to 10, whether those are services, products, categories of service, even divisions or departments or whatever, that's up to you. I would fill that in. Just don't have any duplicates in that. Once you've got that all set up, you've got 2 data entry tabs. The first one is your client database. So this one, I won't say it should remain static. Hopefully you're getting new clients, but this one you don't add every single sale on. This one you only add on client if they're a new client. So you can come put the client name in here. All that it asks is that you don't put duplicates. If you put duplicates, it'll turn red. And then you can put in the contact person, primary contact person, their mobile, landline, email, and you can put a secondary contact person, mobile, landline, and email. So you can put in up to 2 people who could potentially be contacted at that business, that client. You don't have to use both. You just use one, that's fine. If you've got a second, you can use a second. And then these will tally up how many sales you got for each, how many leads you got for each, and the value and the value of the leads and sales as well. So that'll automatically calculate. You just fill in the contact details of 2 people, primary, secondary, and then the business name. Once you've done that, you can resort into alphabetical order, because it'll just be useful when you come to your sales database. Because when you come here and you select the next client, it'll actually ask you which client is it. And that list comes from your client database. You can then select which contact you see. If you leave this blank, it'll show you the primary contact. If you say, well, no, I prefer to see the secondary contact, you see that person doesn't have a secondary contact because, well, business C didn't have a secondary contact, so that's blank. If they did, let's try that with someone else. Business D, secondary, they didn't have one either. Who do we go? Business B. There we go. Business B's got a secondary contact or primary contact. So you can toggle between the 2. If you leave it blank, as I said, it'll show the primary contact. So that's really just adding on a new potential client, the client name and the contact. These 3 dates, these 3 columns here are the dynamic ones that you need to be addressing. So when you contact a client, put in the day, that date. And as you can see, all the ones that have been contacted that have not become a sale are mostly in yellow, which means that they are valid leads and we have not reached the follow-up date yet. So these are all open leads that could potentially become sales, but we've got a date to follow them up, and we haven't got that date. If there isn't a date, it'll just stay yellow because it'll never ask you to follow up. It'll just say they're a valid lead, they're a valid lead, but it won't ever ask you to actually follow up with them. Those that have turned red, these are the ones that are either sales or leads, but that are due for a follow-up. So let's not do that. Just undo that. There we go. So these are the ones that are due for a follow-up. So let me just go down to the bottom and add a new client, a new sale lead in, so you can see, because this has obviously all been filled in. It might be a little bit overwhelming. So if you come here and you say business B, new potential lead, it immediately goes yellow because it sees it as a lead. You say, I spoke to them today, 26th of April, boom, still a lead. This will then tell you when next you're due to follow up based on the number of days you put in. So once you filled in the last date you spoke to them, you can just simply select the next date. That will then wait until you get to that date, and it'll turn red and go up. You need to follow up with this particular client. If this becomes a sale, in fact, let's go and do one where we follow up. Let's say we follow up with this business today, and this business then becomes a sale. So what we do then is we can then say this is the 26th of April, 26th of April. As we do that, it still says we need to follow up. But what we can do now is we can then go here and say, all right, now it says please follow up in 10 days, because that's 10 days of the sale. So we can then follow up in 10 days. Now it says green because it's a sale when we don't follow up. When we come now to the 6th of May to say follow up, please follow up. You don't want to change the sale date, because if you change the sale date, it distorts your sales figures. It was sold on that date. What you do then is when you get to the 6th of May, you actually come back here again to your last contact date and replace that one, 6th of May, to say that was the last day we were contacted. And then when you click on this, it'll give you the 16th of May, which is in 10 days after that date. So it'll keep telling you every 10 days to follow up with that sale. And that's because I put in 10 days there. That could have been 360 days or whatever the case might be. If you only follow up once after sale and then you don't follow up, what you can do is you can put that date in to follow up. And once you followed up once, you can just simply clear that follow-up date, and then it'll never alert you to follow up again. It'll only alert you to follow up if there is a date in that column. So if we did speak to the person today and they still weren't ready to buy, then we just say 26th of April, and they're still not ready to buy, so there's still a lead. Then we can select there, and it'll tell us to follow up again on the 26th of May. So we do that, and now it refreshes it as a new live lead, and it'll alert you when you get to May. So really, it's just a case of if you make a sale, put the sale date in. Otherwise, just keep updating this last contact date every time you speak to the person. And then when you put the sale date in, it'll give you the next follow-up. If you do want to follow up again, next time you follow up, update the last contact lead. So the last contact date, because the sale date, you don't want to change because that's the actual date that you made the sale. The only other thing you need to fill in on this sheet are here. Here we've got item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, what have you. These are all these product lists. This is actually incorrect. Those headers should be the names that we've got down there. I'll change that. So on your version, you'll see PS1, whatever you've put in as your product or service will be the headers up at the top here. So you'll then be able to come and you'll be able to put in a value per different product. It's as simple as that. So you might find the sale might be one of those and one of those, or whatever. You just put the value in for each sale underneath each header, so that you know what, so the spreadsheet knows which particular product or service each of these sales are, what the values are for them. And if you scroll across, you'll see you go up to number 10. So that is the list. So if you keep that list up to date, this is your sales list. This is the one that you'll be working on from day to day. Putting in all the dates and all the rest of it. This is your client list you'll add on every time you get a new client. And that will then generate the report. So what the report does is it shows you your sales and leads per product. So here you've got your sales and leads based on value, for each of the products. You can see which products are selling and which ones have got all the leads. You can also see sales and leads per month. Now, if you're up to date, you should have all the green sales as your previous months, and it basically goes to April. So they'll give 12 months, the last 12 rolling 12 months, and then the next 3 months. It should look something like this, where you've got your greens, which are all your sales in the past, and the future should all be blue leads. Obviously, these leads are going to be high because they're not all going to come in. Well, not necessarily. Your current month, you may have a mixture of the two, where you've still got leads to follow up that month, and you've also got some sales. This one here shows a number of sales, leads, follow-ups. So this will only be in the future. Hopefully, you would have done the ones in the past already, and nothing will be overdue. But this will show you how many sales and lead follow-ups you've got coming up. Here we've got the sales and leads per month per product. So these are sales by value per month, but as you can see, they're color coordinated. So for example, the pink, the dark pink would be your PS10 sale, and then the transparent pink would be your PS10 leads, for example. So you can see what you've got as a breakdown. I mean, they look very colorful, and if you've got loads of different sales, it'll probably be quite difficult to read, but hopefully you should be able to see big chunks of color if you're selling something far more than anything else. So that's based on the value, and if you scroll down, it's based on the number of entries. So you might only have 2 entries, but massive value. So these graphs will potentially be different. So that report will generate automatically, but you've got some filters down the side here. So first of all, you can come and select a client. And if you select, for example, business client, business A, all of these graphs are updated only for that one particular business. So you can filter by a specific business, and you can see all those graphs as before, but based only on that one business. If you leave it blank, it includes all businesses. You can also go and choose which products to include or exclude. So you could actually come in here and remove certain products if you wanted to. You can come in and remove them, or add some others. So I'm actually going to change these names. I won't call them product one. I'll actually change these names to the ones you put on the intro setup. So on your version, you should be able to see what you've typed in there, and then you can come and you can deselect some of them. If you come in and deselect some, then it basically, you can see it's removed that product, and it's removed it from all the graphs. So anything you do here will be subject to all of those graphs. Last one, types to include, sales and leads. So you can go, actually, I only want to include sales. I don't want to include leads. You can have a look at the sales first. You can say, yeah, then I want to include leads and remove the sales, and look at one after the other if you wanted to. And then last but not least, you've just got to be tricky with this. You've got to be careful with this one, because obviously it relies on your data. But this month here, April 2022, this is the key month. This is the one that we're in now. So these are all past and that present. If you want to have a look in the past and see, well, what were my sales for last year, for example, then you can actually override this date. So if I change that to, for example, let's just see what happens. It might go all funny because I haven't put the right data in. If you put in 1st of July 2021, you see it changes. So now July is that month. So it shows the previous ones and the 3 months after that. But obviously there's only sales because that's in the past, and we don't have any leads in the past. So you can change the data override if you want to. I would say that's probably only specifically looking at sales, or you could look into the future, in which case you'll probably only see leads popping up. In fact, let's see what happens if we do that. If we put 1st of August 2022, yeah, you see now it moves along, and you see I only put leads up to that point. But you'll be able to see into the future, into the past. Just bear in mind of what you're actually looking at. If you put any date, so I put 1st of July or whatever, you can put 10th, 12th, 15th, it doesn't matter. Any date, and it'll take that month that you've got and slot it in here and work everything else around that. So this is your overall report. You can do a file save as and save this as a PDF. This section here won't come out in a PDF, it'll just be that. You might have to just drag the borders if you need to, because it is that's set up based on your printer. So yeah, that's your final report. That's your sales base. This is the one that you need to keep up to date. That's your client database of existing clients once you've set it all up. So yeah, I hope that that helps you. If this works for you and this is what you need, then great, buy this one, use it, crack on. If not, and you need something more custom, let me know and we can chat about a bespoke version. So thank you very much for your time. And yeah, I wish you all the best with this. Thank you. Bye-bye.